Om Shanti sister, how are you?
Om Shanti, brother. I am fine. How are you?
I'm fine, sister. Happy Holi.
Happy Holi, brother.
Okay, thank you, sister. Today we are going to see uh, the spiritual secrets behind the celebration of Holi. In Holi, they have two celebrations, uh, Durya and Holi. During Durya, they burn old materials, wood. It's similar to Bogi that we celebrate in Tamil Nadu. They burn those things a day before Holi. On the next day, they pour color water or color powder on each other. This is how they celebrate Holi. And what's the uh, story behind that is uh,
అంటే యారు இருக்கா, brother?
everybody. So everybody must have heard of the story of Hiranyakashipu. So he's a demon king, and he gets the boon of not getting killed by anyone. So that increases his arrogance, and he wants everybody to pray to him as God. So in reality, it did not happen, and none of the stories that we read from any religious scriptures has ever happened. It's just an imaginary story with a spiritual truth in it. So it actually represents the time when it happens. So it is now people think that they can't die because their actions are like that. They accumulate wealth for 10, 12 generations, thinking that as if they are going to live that long. And their arrogance is such that they want everybody to listen to them. You can take any politicians or any company CEO, their arrogance is of that level. So Hiranyakashipu represents those arrogant people. And to his dismay, he has the son called Prahalad, who is an intense devotee of Mahavishnu. He refuses to worship his dad. So it actually represents Brahmakumaris, those who take knowledge from God directly. In the last 100 years of this 5,000 year time cycle, God comes in this 100 years. He enters an old man's body and he names that old man as Brahma and start giving this knowledge through Brahma's mouth. Those who listen to this knowledge and accept God as our Father, we also become children of Brahma. That is why we are called Brahma Kumar and Kumaris, sons and daughters of Brahma. So it is through Brahma Kumaris God gives this knowledge. So whoever listens to this knowledge represents Prahalad. So by saying that Prahalad refuses to worship uh, his dad, his Laukik dad, Hiranyakashipu, it actually means we refuse to follow the rules and regulations of the arrogant society because we get teachings directly from God. Doesn't mean we are arrogant towards others. It, so if you are arrogant towards others, it means you are following the path of arrogant society. But God asks us to be loving all the time, to be detached all the time. We should strike a balance between the two. We need to be loving, at the same time, we need to be detached. Both should go hand in hand. So we have to, and the essence of God's teaching is you have to consider yourself to be the soul and remember me, the supreme soul, as a point of light as much as possible. This is where God resides. This is the golden red colored light world, and God is a point of light. He enters an old man's body and names him Brahma. So, although God gives the teachings through Brahma, you should not remember Brahma because it's not Brahma that gives you this teaching. It is God who gives this teaching. So, always remember God as a point of light in this supreme world, soul world. This is called Parandam by Hindus and Parlog by Christians. The more you remember God as a point of light, the more we get rid of body consciousness. So Hiranyakashipu represents man being fully body conscious. Prahalad represents man being fully soul conscious by following the knowledge of God. So Prahalad refuses to follow the devilish dictates of this society of Kali Yuga. So he gets angry because this is Kali Yuga. This is his kingdom. Ravan's kingdom. So Ravan represents these five vices: lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego, which is present both in men and women. It is combinedly called 10-headed Ravan. Other than that, there is no one with 10 heads as represented in Ramayana. So God says, you need to remember me as much as possible so that you get rid of these five vices, because when this world was heaven in the beginning, because this is a 5,000 year time cycle, the first half of which was heaven, and this slowly becomes hell. How did this change happen? It is by becoming body conscious, we make this world into hell. While we were soul conscious, this is heaven. So God comes in the last 100 years of every kalpa. That is, this 5,000 year time cycle is called one kalpa. So whatever happens in one kalpa repeats kalpa after kalpa accurately without any single change. For example, when we speak, if there is a mosquito flying now, so every 5,000 years once at this point of time, the same mosquito will fly. So this drama is that accurate. So God says, remember me as much as possible till the whole of your body consciousness get destroyed, get burnt. So the burning of body consciousness by remembering God after considering ourselves as soul is represented in that story as Hiranyakashipu puts Prahalad into the fire. So when somebody is put into fire, what happens? The body gets destroyed because this is destroyable, but the soul is non-destroyable. It cannot be perished. So that's why in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned soul can never be destroyed, never be burnt, never be moistened. So it represents he is fully soul conscious. So it means, so by putting him in fire, it represents by putting him in the fire of lust, in the fire of anger, fire of greed, ego, attachment, he doesn't burn. How? Because he is fully soul conscious. If he is body conscious, he will be burnt. So that is the reason even Sita Devi was made to walk on fire. That's the fire of lust, fire of anger, fire of greed, fire of attachment. But she doesn't get burnt by being fully soul conscious, by being in remembrance of God Shiva all the time. Because Sita, while in forest, she was always in front of Shivling, performing puja after puja. So she was not thinking of his husband, her husband Ram. Instead, she is thinking of God Shiva. That makes her soul conscious. Even Ram is worshipping Shiva all the time. That's how he becomes fully soul conscious. So that's the actual story of Ramayan, where Ram and Sita combinedly conquer Ravan, these five vices. So here in this story, Hiranyakashipu asked his sister called Holika, who has the boon of not getting burnt in fire. He makes Prahalad sit on her lap and make them sit in the fire. They think Prahalad will get burnt, but instead she gets burnt. He comes alive. How? Because he is fully in remembrance of God. So actually, it's not that Prahalad and Hiranyakaship's sister Holika are two different beings. Holika represents our body consciousness. Prahalad represents soul. So Holika gets burnt. That is, body conscious gets burnt by being in remembrance of God Shiva. But in that story, he is chanting the name of Mahavishnu because they don't know who God is. So they have given the fame of God Shiva to Mahavishnu in Hinduism, and same with Bible, they have given the fame to Jesus Christ. But God is one. He comes only once. The knowledge of God is just one. So he asks us to remember God as a point of light. See, the more you remember God, the more you remember the knowledge of God, which is available through Brahma Kumaris. Brahma Kumaris Rajog Meditation Center. It is called Murli. You can also find it online in several websites and YouTube. So we'll be giving the links of some in the description below. Please make use of it. It's absolutely free of cost because it is God Himself who gives this knowledge. So you have to remember God as a point of light. This is the essence of His teaching, and He will be giving the knowledge daily. Throughout this life, you have to take that knowledge and remember this throughout the day. Only then your mind will get rid of all corrupt thoughts like lust, anger, greed, attachment, and all wasteful thoughts. God says, don't see what your eyes see. Don't listen what your uh, ear hear. Only listen to what I say, what God say through Brahma Kumaris in the form of Murli, and see only God all the time through your mind and intellect. Because we know He is a point of light that shines like a tiny star in the golden red colored light over. So be it Holika Dahan or Bogi, they burn all waste things, old things. So what is old? All the vices, lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego, they belong to the old world. We have to burn them by being in remembrance of God and by being in remembrance of knowledge of God. So when you imbibe this knowledge all the time, your character slowly changes. Divine changes into divine. From devilish, you become fully divine, filled with fully divine qualities. So that is represented in the second day of celebration called Holi, where they sprinkle color water or color powder on each other so that they make everybody colorful. Before that, they even throw water on each other so it gets wet. Only it gets wet, the powder will get attached to them strongly. So, likewise, by being in remembrance of God, our soul gets purified. And when you take knowledge along with remembrance, the knowledge gets imbibed in the soul. So, what happens in the soul? They have shown it physically, externally. So, by coloring each other. So, in that's a story where Sri Krishna and his friends, when they visit the village of Radha, uh, they tease Radha. Uh, so he sprinkles color powder, color water on them. So as a memory of that, they are celebrating Holi. And also, at one point when they tease Radha, Radha and her friends, they beat them with stick, just playfully. They beat Krishna and others with stick. So that is celebrated as Latmar Holi in a place called Barsa, where married women beat men with sticks. So they will have some shield. So it looks nice. But do you know what the true spiritual significance behind that? When you take this knowledge, you consider yourself as a soul and see each other as soul. When you see the soul, you remember the Supreme Soul, who is the father of me and the soul you are interacting with. So it means when someone is born to a single father, there cannot be any relationship other than brother and sister. So you have to see each other only as brother and sister, or just as brother, because soul is not male or female. Only body is male and female. So maybe you are married, but after taking this knowledge, you are becoming pure by staying away from vice. You no longer see your husband or wife as husband and wife. Instead, see each other as brothers or sisters. So that's the reason in Latmar Moli, married women beat men with sticks, which means hereafter you are not my husband, you are my brother. Don't approach me with the aim of having physical relationship with me. Because I'm becoming pure, you also have to become pure, because we are going to claim the kingdom of heaven that we have lost over the period of 5,000 years. So that's the reason they celebrate Latmar Holi. So this is the actual reason for the celebration of Holi, my dear brothers and sisters. Om Shanti. Happy Holi for everybody. Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti, brother. Happy Holi, ellarkum.